All right, in this video demonstration, we're actually going to do the client configuration for the computers to actually go to the WSUS server and get the appropriate updates. So what we're going to do on server C is we're going to start off by going into our WSUS administration. Again, we can get there here or administrative tools, WSUS. And we're going to actually go in and create two new computer groups. So I'm going to go to my computers container. And remember, by default, every single computer, get rid of these. I had these for a previous demonstration, so I don't want to mess these up, sorry. All right, so by default, this is what we look like. So we have computers, all computers, unassigned computers. By default, every computer is going to get dropped into the unassigned computers area. And one of the things that I don't like, as you've heard me say before, maybe in previous videos, is this a filter, this drop-down box filter that's automatically there, and I like to just keep it on any. If I want to come back and do any other filtering, I could, but let's just say any for now and refresh that. And this won't play a factor right now because we haven't done any kind of configuration, but later on it will be a factor. So what we want to do is we don't want every computer just to go into the unassigned computer groups, because whenever I do my approval for updates, I want to be able to specify which computer groups actually get these approved updates. So what we're going to do is make some new computer groups. And we're going to make one called test. So I'm going to right click computers or actually all computers and say add computer group. We're going to call this computer group test. And we're going to make another computer group and we're going to call this one marketing. Say add. All right, so we've got our two computer groups created. And one thing I want to stress here is that you can't go in here and make, new computer objects. You say, well, John, how are the computers actually going to show up in here so I can put them in the right group? Well, whenever you configure the GPO, group policy object, for those clients to talk to and communicate with the WSUS server, they will show up here in this appropriate group. Now, if you don't do client-side targeting, they will automatically show up under unassigned computers, and you'll have to manually associate them with the appropriate computer group. Again, that's called server-side targeting. If you go into a GPO like we're going to do and do client-side targeting, they should, when they talk to the WSUS server, show up in the appropriate computer group under marketing or test, depending upon what I configure the GPO for. The next thing we want to do is open up Active Directory users and computers. We're going to make some new organizational units. So I'm going to go to Start, Administrative Tools, Active Directory users and computers. Double click this, and I'm going to right click on my domain name and say new organizational unit, and let's make a new OU test. It's okay. Let's make another organizational unit called marketing. Keep with our pattern here that we've been doing. Now remember, what's so important about organizational units and especially group policy objects is that if you don't put the appropriate objects, whether they be computers or users, in the appropriate or associated organizational unit, they'll never get the GPOs that are associated with those OUs attached or applied to those computer account objects or users. So it's very vital that we make that happen. So what we're going to do is go into our computers container. We're going to take our core machine and move it into the marketing OU. Now we can do that one of two ways. We can left click, hold down, and drag and drop like this. It's one way. We can do that. So now we look at our marketing. There's our computer account object for core. Or another way we could do this is we could take our Windows 7 machine and right click on this and say move and then specify the test organizational unit. So now we look in the test OU, we got the Windows 7 machine in there, and the marketing OU, we have the core machine in there. All right. Now what we want to do is create two new GPOs and link them to the two new OUs with the following information. So what we're going to do now is open up our Group Policy Management console. Group Policy Management. And in the Group Policy Management console, we want to drill down and see our two organizational units. Now there's multiple ways to do this. What I like to do is, for example, right click on marketing and say create a GPO in this domain and link it here. So I'll just call this one marketing WSUS config, for example. It can be called anything that you'd like. And then also I'll do the same thing for the test OU, and I'll create a GPO in this domain and link it here, and let's call this test WSUS config. Say OK. Now let's go through now and right click on the marketing GPO and let's edit that. And for the WSUS configuration, we need to go in and point these clients to use the right WSUS server, give them some additional configurations. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do about 3 or 4, I think 3 specific things we're going to do for these GPOs. So let's go ahead and expand that out. We're going to go under computer configuration, policies, administrative templates. Actually, let me expand this out a little further so we can see everything. And we're going to go to Windows Components, all the way down to the bottom for Windows Update. Change my view so you can see a little bit better to standard. And first thing we'll do is we'll do Configure Automatic Updates. And we want to automatically download, so we're going to enable this. We want to automatically download and schedule the install every day at 04. Notice again how they have a 24-hour time format, so make sure that you know the difference between 2100 and 1800, and that's 1800 6 p.m. versus 2100, which is 9 p.m. because you will see that often. So let's do OK on this. We also want to specify the intranet Microsoft Update service location. We want that to be our server C machine, so we'll do HTTP server C, and we can just copy and paste by hitting, highlighting and hitting Control C on the keyboard, and then Control V to paste it in. And again, we're saying, hey, listen, clients, go to server C to get your updates and approval information. And then the last thing we want to do is enable client-side targeting. So we want to make sure that these marketing people actually go to the marketing group or get placed inside the marketing group, computer group for our WSUS. So those are the 3 main things that we wanted to do. Now, we're finished with this GPO. Now we need to go configure the test GPO. So let's right-click on the test GPO and say Edit. And we're going to go through and do the exact same thing we did just a moment ago. Administrative templates, Windows components, all the way down to the bottom, Windows Update. And we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go to Configure Automatic Updates, Enabled, choose option 4, and make them check automatically at 04 every day. We're going to specify our intranet server. Notice how I just was able to do Control V because I already had that server C information in memory. Control V again to paste that in. And we'll do client-side targeting, except for this time we're not going to do marketing, we are going to do test to make sure those clients get those. So the Windows 7 machine, I believe, is going into the test OU, and the marketing OU is going to be the core machine. So we have our GPOs configured properly. We have our groups created. Now you say, well, John, how come the computer account objects aren't in here yet? Well, it's probably because the clients haven't actually gotten the group policy information yet from the server, which we will see happen a little bit later. All right, so that's all we needed to do for this portion of the lab. That's it.